Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel, Get Crafty with Sally. My name is Sally Poole. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Albany, Oregon. Welcome. I have a super neat card for you today, just in time for Easter. And Easter is really late this year. I can't remember exactly when it is. uh, April 25th or something, 20th, something like that. It's late. Has to do with the moons and all that. So I saw this card. It came up when I was looking at YouTube the other day, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is just perfect. I have been making cards for church, for people in the congregation to invite people to church so they can just go through the little box of cards and grab one and send it to a friend or family member or whatever and invite them to church. And I saw this and I thought, well, isn't that just perfect? And it does fold, so it fits in an envelope. How cool is that? Let me run and let the dog out real quick. Sorry about that. If I don't let them out, they're going to ring the bells until I do. So I've got a couple, let me finish what I was saying. The card that I saw on YouTube was presented by, I think her name's Bethany Bernard. It's similar to this, very similar. I did make a few changes. I didn't quite copy exactly. So I am calling it an Easter pop-up cross card. And I've made several samples that I'll show you later. This is kind of a reverse order of the same designer series paper. And this paper is from the Regal winter pack, which is current, so you can get this. Just by chance, when I cut this piece out, that flower was right in the center, and I just thought I would leave it like that. I hated to put the little circle over it, so I just stamped Christ the Lord is risen today on a bunch of pieces for the backs, because I have several of these that I'm not putting the circle on. The sentiment on here, I just did it on my computer so I could get it to fit in that little circle. Most of them are, straight across and take up a lot of space. And I wanted to get that little lily, a little bit of that lily on there. So let me interject that today there are new online exclusives, quite a few. And I want to remind you that I do refund standard shipping on orders of $60 or more. So if you place an order with me, that would be fabulous. And I will write you a check for the shipping that you paid and send it to you with a card. So go check out the new products that are available today. So here is what we're going to need to make this card. I know it looks scary. Like I said, I've made quite a few of these cards, and they seemed pretty simple while I was making them, but when I got all these pieces together and put all of the measurements on there, it kind of even scared me. So hopefully I can sort them all out and we can get this done. So let's move these. I guess I should mention, you can either grab a screenshot of these measurements, or as always, I will have a PDF with all of the measurements and supplies listed down below this video in the description box. Okay, So let's move this out of the way. And the first thing we're going to do is this 5 by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock is the, can you see the cherry cobbler piece in the back? It is the folding mechanism for the pop-up cross. So we're going to score it at 1 inch, 1 7/8 inch, 3 1/8 inch, and 4 inches. So let me grab my trimmer and we will get that done. So use the gray blade for scoring, the darker one for trimming. So we're going to line that up at 1 inch. Give that a press and score it. 1 7/8 inches. I should have done one of these ahead of time in case I mess this up, and I probably shouldn't have said that. 3 1/8. And then 4 inches. Okay, so we can set the trimmer aside. I'm going to grab my chair. My back is hurting. I made dog food on Sunday, which was about 3 hours spent in the kitchen. So it's killing me, and I even went to the chiropractor today. So hopefully I can make it through this video without crying. I'm not gonna cry. So let's take this. This is the 5-inch edge. So we're gonna take the left side and fold it up and then give that a good score. I'm going to straighten it back out, and then I'm going to fold the second line to the back. Straighten it back out, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Bring the first one forward and the second one back. Okay. So this is kind of what you're going to end up with. Hope you can see that. And now let's take our, I'm going to grab all my little skinny pieces and my cross, if I can figure out what is what. Sorting things out. Okay, so here is my piece for my, this is the designer series paper piece for the cross. We are going to do this card, and then the piece, the layer that goes behind it. And I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper so we can see the white. And I'm going to grab my green glue and my little glue stand. And I'm going to put some glue on this. Unfortunately, I didn't glue anything together ahead of time, so you are gonna just have to bear with me. So we'll line that up on here. And since we've used our green glue, we can scooch it around a little bit if we need to. And then I'm going to grab the cross piece and the layer that goes behind it, and I'm gonna check it before I glue everything to make sure I've got the right pieces. I have fouled up several of these cards by not checking that and not grabbing the right piece or not cutting it quite right. And I've also glued everything together like this with the white layer behind it, and then started to glue it on a white background and got about halfway through and said, oh crud, that's not how it's supposed to be, because it doesn't show up that way. And this 1¼ inch by 3 1/8 goes behind this panel that we just put together, and I will show you in some of my sample cards that I forgot to put this layer on. And it doesn't make a huge, obvious difference. You probably wouldn't really even notice if I hadn't said anything. So there's the cross pieces. Now let's grab sort out our little side pieces. So there's 2 skinny ones and 2 bigger ones, and we've got 2 skinny white pieces here. So we'll glue these together. So I haven't taken any cards to the church yet. I just talked to the pastor about it the other day and asked if it was okay. They had some in the church lobby at Christmas time. They were not handmade cards for people to grab and invite people to church if they wanted to. And I just thought it was a really good idea. You're supposed to minister to people and use whatever God-given talents you've got. And at this time in my life, this is about the only talent that I think I have. And I'm absolutely not very good at talking to people. So hopefully this will work, and we'll get a few visitors to come and see us. Anyway, let me know if any of you out there have done that and how it's gone. I'd be interested to hear. It's nice outside right now, and I left the door open. I might have to go shut it if he keeps barking. It's one of those days where earlier it was pouring down rain, the wind's been blowing, and now there's blue sky and white puffy clouds and a gentle breeze, and the birds are chirping. So it's kind of nice out. Okay, so there are the 4 little pieces that go on the panel. So I'm going to go shut that door. I don't know what he barks at, but he can always find something out there. Okay, so let's start attaching our cross piece to the panel. And if I didn't already mention it, I think I did. This does fold up and fit in an envelope. So we're going to lay the 1 inch by 5 inch designer series paper piece with the layer behind it right in the center. Try to get your little margins equal between those score lines. And then I'm going to take one of the larger pieces and put it on the left side. And I don't know if there's an up or down with this paper. I don't think there is. Sometimes I flipped it over and said, well, that flower looks like it should go that way. And then I turn it the other way and I'm like, well, that actually looks better that way. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on what flower you've ended up with on, or flowers you've ended up with on that certain panel. So that's another big one. I'm going to put this white flower at the bottom. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter because I don't have a flower on there. This is another larger one. And then we'll grab the little skinny guys. Did you guys see that the price of, I believe it's cardstock, is going up like $2.50 a pack when the next catalog comes out? That's crazy. They said the price of paper has just gone up so much that they have to do that. I just ordered about 24 packs. Prior to that, I didn't know this was happening, so I'm glad that I did. So you might think about stocking up while you can save a little bit. So there's our 4th panel, and I'm trying to kind of line these edges up. So now we're going to put the little cross piece on, and I have, of course, I've made a bunch of these, so I've already measured kind of where I want it to go. And hopefully you can see this on the camera. I'm lining the bottom. I'm going to look. Yes, you can. I'm lining the bottom of the card up with this bottom line on my grid paper. And then can you see this line that I drew on here? I'm going to go to my cross piece, and I'm just going to put some glue right there. And then I've got a ruler that I'm going to line up on the line that I drew. Then I can just take my cross piece and press it right up against the edge of that ruler, and it should be relatively straight. Famous last words. Okay, let me make sure that I'm grabbing the right piece for this next step. I'm going to grab the 3.5 by 5.5 inch piece. And we're going to attach this to it. I'm going to have to bring my pink in again. So I'm just going to flip this over, and I'm going to put glue about halfway up this first edge panel. And I'm going to lay that down on my basic white piece. And I'm trying to see that these two margins are about the same, and this one is a little bit bigger. I don't know why it works better that way, but it does. So now I'm going to flip this over and put glue halfway up on this other panel. You probably don't need as much glue as I'm putting on here. Then I'm going to flip that over, fold that up. This piece right here is the one that I just put the glue on. And you can kind of scooch it into place there and try to line it up like you did on the other side. And while I've got that there, I'm actually going to fold that up, and it usually pulls it over a little bit, and sometimes it's not perfectly straight, but it's okay because you're not really going to notice. So now we've got our popped up cross. Isn't that fun? And see how easy it is? So the next thing I'm going to do on this card is, like I said, I have done He Is Risen on just basic white paper. I did this on my computer. I will put the font that I used and the size that I used in the PDF. So I'm going to take just some Memento Tuxedo Black ink and this little iris stamp from the Faith Collection stamp set. And I'm going to ink that up. And I've actually, when I cut this little circle out, and I did use the Stylish Shapes second from the smallest circle for that, I kind of, I didn't center the words. They're kind of up towards the top and a little bit to the left so that I could put the irises over on the lower right. So we'll stamp that on there. And then I've got one that I stamped ahead of time just to make sure it was dry. I'm going to take my light cherry cobbler stamp and blend and just quickly color that flower in. Then I'm going to take my dark cherry cobbler and just do a little bit of shading there. These colors are very close, so it's not a big difference and doesn't show up very much. So now I also have a piece of cherry cobbler cut out with a scalloped circle from the Layering Circles Framelits dies, and it is this one, which would be the second largest scallop. You can use whatever circles you've got. They don't have to be this size. They don't have to be a smooth circle and a scallop. You can do whatever you want. And you could also put, a sentiment that's on a rectangle on here. I think it would look fine too. So let's try to center that on our cherry cobbler. And we'll put some glue on this. And I did forget that I actually, when I made several of these the way I'm doing it now, I had wised up and started attaching this before I put this piece on this, I'm going to call it the base. So it was flat and you could see it really good. So I'm going to have to stand up again and make sure this is straight. And you could fold that over if you want while you're doing this, if that helps you get it centered a little bit better. And I'm not putting any jewels on these, any gems. I don't think they need it. And I didn't want to have to explain to everybody at church about the extra postage and, they should probably go check it and blah, blah, blah. So I just left them as is, and I think it's great. So you can also, if you want, I've got a 3 1/4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white. This actually, if you want to stamp things on this, you could stamp some other sentiment that you might have. And I don't know that I would put another cross on here, but the palm fronds would be nice down here. And then this gives you a place to write a message if you want. You could also do it just right on here, but that just fits nicely right on the back of this. If you wanted to, you could put another layer of cherry cobbler that's this size, and then go down a little bit smaller for the basic white. Lots of options. So anyway, there is our original and the reverse paper. Oops, I forgot one thing. I'm glad I started picking up these little papers. I've got this little piece. The things that I changed, or a couple of the things that I changed, were the sizes of the paper on the side. Hers were a little smaller, and you had a lot, I'm going to call it dead space, bigger dead space showing. And if you just leave the card as is, this is the one we just did, and stand it up, it'll stand up, but it kind of tips. It'll stand up, but it's not straight. So I decided to put this little, and it doesn't have to be this size. I have 5/8 by 1 1/8 inches. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. By a little bit, I mean probably more than most people do. Probably more than is needed. And this probably should have been white, but this is okay. So I'm just sliding it in. Can you see that? I've just put it right under this cross piece, and I'm going to try to guesstimate how big the margin is down here on the card base. And while it's still wiggleable, you can stand it up if you want and see where it's at. Okay, so that's my little tip and trick for that. All right, so there is Regal Winter. Guess we don't need all of those there. And then I also did, hopefully I can figure out what I've got here. Let's see. This one is Delightful Floral. And I just went through, my old DSPs and grabbed some of my favorites. I love this, and that's got Pretty Peacock on it. And I also did one with, this is another paper that I love, Symbols of Fortune. I love the pieces of paper that have the crane on them, but I didn't think that would be really appropriate for church. And I did put this on the back, but I do think I still am going to put a circle on here. It just looks like something's missing on this card. So there's that one, Symbols of Fortune. And then I've got Flight and Airy, the birds. I've got one that had the bird right in the center. I didn't do that on purpose, so I decided I'd leave him there. And then this one I put the circle on. And then, let's see. This one I really like. This is Expressions in Ink, and it's the Pale Papaya. I love it. And it's specialty paper. It's got the gold. So I cut out a bunch of paper so I can make several of that card. And I probably will make some out of the Regal Winter pack that are in the other colors that are in there. And then this one is Hydrangea Hill. Do you remember that paper? And I think the paper on the back is Misty Moonlight. And then this one is Painted Blooms. And I believe the blue paper is Pacific Point, which tells you how old that pack of paper is. And then last but not least, and I'm not going to quit making these, I will be making more. So you can check my Pinterest page if you want to see what else I've come up with. You can check Sally Pool on Pinterest or Get Crafty with Sally. This one is with the Floral Delight, and I just love it as well. I think it's so pretty. So those are my cards for today. What do you think about them? Let me know if you're going to give it a try. Let me know which one is your favorite. I really do hope you'll try it. They are really easy, even though there are a lot of pieces. Once you make one, you will find out how easy they are. So anyway, I really appreciate you stopping by and spending some time with me today. If you're getting anything out of my videos, please hit the like button, share them with your friends and family. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. It really helps my channel grow. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.